Contrary to popular belief, Path of Exile 2 is not a perfect game. Yeah, settle down everybody, settle down. I know I'm known as the Path of Exile 2 lover, but any of you who have ever watched any of my live streams, videos, shorts, read my Twitter post, been on my Discord, or just chatted with me in private or public know that I have plenty of problems with Path of Exile 2, and my past 3 scripted videos have talked about exactly this, detailing some of my most niche problems with the game after I put in about 120 hours this particular league. And in this video, we're going to talk about your responses to those videos, ideas that you might have had to improve some of these problems in the game, and addressing the fact that some of you believe all of these problems are only in my head. Are you kidding me? Really? Just in my head? Oh, we're going to explore them all here today. Let's dive right into it with the very first video. Path of Exile 2 quit moments, support gem scarcity. This is me talking about how in the campaign, especially in an early endgame, you can run out of support gems if you don't know what you're doing, if you're just prone to experimenting a lot, or honestly, if you just have bad luck. This especially occurs to beginners, to casuals who might play an hour a week and forget really what they're doing with their build and just use the support gems for the heck of it, or with, like I said, people who just experiment a lot and don't know what the best stuff is. So let's check the comments below here. I am Meaty Juggernaut 1245. They could also make the support gem disenchant and return to its original, like, Bind Spectre gem. That is a great point. You talk to Una, you talk to one of the other disenchanters, and she just returns the level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 support gem back to you. This would, though, effectively eliminate support gems as a currency, so while I think that would be a great quality of life, I don't think grinding your games will buy into that because they obviously want there to be some friction, some push and pull with the support gem elements. JRRV8WW, support gems are definitely way too rare during the campaign. I'd say skill gems are too. I routinely find myself skipping entire skill gem tiers because they just don't drop. Well, there are seeded locations for basically every level and tier of gem, whether it's skill or support, but I totally understand what this guy's saying. This is the problem that I ran into. I've had plenty of people in my personal life also have this happen to them. I had to lend support gems to my father in second wind because he ran out of support gems, and the moment he got those, his experience turned around. And that's the thing that I'm really frightened about here. There are so many RNG systems in Path of Exile 2 that contribute to your character's power, most of it being within your gear and specifically your weapon, that why do we need another one here that is inherently tied to RNG during the campaign and then just becomes flippant once you hit the end game? That's why I think there should be a system in place, as the ones I proposed here, or even the one that Meaty Juggernaut talked about, to prevent that from happening to players. Right here, Abaso says, I think there should be a vendor in Acts 2 Plus that sell uncut supports from the act below, such as Act 2 sells uncut 1, Act 3 sells uncut 2, etc. And in the endgame, Doriani sells uncut supports 4, keeps the best support, level 5, still obtainable only through farming, but gives access to experimentation with what should have been available. I love this idea. I think Abasao is bang on the money right here. You will just have to buy them for gold. Maybe they could even do a little bit of a callback to Path of Exile 1 and have you use actual currency items to buy the gems, maybe add something new into the game like they did with the broken down Arcanist materials for wands and staves. I think that would be totally fine. Now, as I'm scrolling through these comments right here, I have a ton of people that congregated to this video and do completely agree with me, but if you start to get to the bottom, to the dregs, people will start to essentially say, this is a skill issue. You just need to know what you are doing and you will be fine. I totally disagree, and that's missing the point of the video. Right here is a great point that I did not, I think I brought it up. Maybe I brought it up in the video, but yeah, I did. Poncho BH3LB says, yup, this kind of forces you to make or follow a build during league start. If you start to mess around too much with your build, you can be effed. Happened to me with Druid. Yes, exactly. The current system, it punishes you for experimenting, and I think Path of Exile 2 should be the opposite. Now, this person right here, HMBBOIXYOOJ, says, nah, everything should be free reset until you get to mapping. And then he elaborates, I disagree. This is swinging too far on the opposite side. There needs to be some friction, some challenge in place when you're building your character. Otherwise, everything just becomes far too free. This is a system that is somewhat in place in Last Epoch, and you can go try it out there, see if you enjoy it. But I actually do enjoy the little bit of scarcity in Path of Exile 2. I think just sometimes due to the pure RNG element of it, unless you want to interact with the trade market, that it should go back in a little bit of the other direction, a little bit more determinism. As long as you think and you are able to fund those mistakes that you made with the resources that you've already spent. Yes, here, scroll a little bit to the bottom, and this is where they all start to add up. This is essentially the perspective that is against the ideas presented here. Thomas Cervenka 7687 says, "You are the only one I have heard of that has this issue. Maybe you are not picking them up. I am literally drowning in them during campaigns to the point I started selling them to vendors." Boom! You hit the nail right on the head, man. Some people are lucky. You are one of those people, and you are consistently getting the drops because support gems and skill gems can also drop from monsters in addition to the seeded drops that are already in the campaign. That's the problem. The swinginess is too much. There just needs to be a little bit of a catch-up mechanism for those who are unlucky and are left behind. It's really finding that fine point between ease and friction, okay? Because if grinding gear games goes too far in either direction, people get pissed, people get frustrated, and people quit. The whole point of this series. My argument right now is it's too far in the direction of friction, and it just needs to be moved a couple notches back toward ease of access for players. But I don't want the accessibility to be too high. I don't want it to just be sliding your way to the end game, being able to refund everything, redo anything. Choices don't matter. No. Don't like that. Just a little bit of editing grinding your games. Here we are with the next video, the major Path of Exile 2 endgame progression problem. In this one, I talk about basically two things. One, the Atlas map is too cluttered and it feels claustrophobic and the navigation is bad. And two, the progression path to your first Arbiter of Ash, which now locks behind the ultra fun ability to juice your maps with rare tablets, also sucks and is too RNG based with the way you find citadels. So let's see what you all said in the comments. First guy, Rick Fowler, I got Atlas fatigue. Me, YH2KB said the first Arbiter flight issue is real. I didn't find citadels until level 93. That is such a common sentiment in the comments of this video, but there's also the opposite one of these people are just lying. Citadels appear everywhere. I found so many citadels. Why are people saying this? And that, once again, is the problem. It's Path of Exile 2 is, like my friend Blaze said, a casino. There's so much gambling, there's so much randomness, but my argument is it's already in many elements of the game. This particular one, finding your Arbiter of Ash, that your first Arbiter of Ash by finding the 3 citadels, that is one of the elements that shouldn't have an extreme amount of RNG attached. Sure, some randomness is fine, but the swinginess we're seeing from the player base is just absolutely insane. I've had multiple 90+ characters, but never fought the Arbiter of Ash. Ooh, this idea is good. Aldiel Monte, we need a mini map on Atlas map so we can track where we are on the entire huge place. I like that idea. Instead of the big zoom out that I proposed, maybe we could have that as well, but we could also essentially see a little pin of where we are in relation to the very beginning. I like that idea too. Now we have one right here, 7 Deadly. We need a search function where you can search for rarity, unique maps, and other modifiers on the Atlas. WWW. This guy is right. I cannot believe that I did not propose this in the video. That would be phenomenal. CanCan7615 says the Grand Project could be default mode for all towers. If you don't know how the Grand Project tablet works, I'll pop it up on screen right now. Essentially, it allows you to use it in a tower, and you can hop from any map. Once you complete the tower, you can hop from a tower to any map in the radius without the nodes actually being connected. I think this would remove the entire point of just having nodes on the Atlas, though, if every tower acted like this, unless you made the towers are more scarce. So I I don't think I'd like this ad. And honestly, on this video, instead of having a consensus and a lot of comments and a lot of ideas, there was just a lot of people essentially spouting out that yes, they are having lots of problems, or no, I'm not having any problems, or the Endless Atlas sucks. They need to completely swap up the entire system. There are hundreds of comments on this video. I encourage you, grinding your games, other creators, if you go and you check out, if you're wondering, man, people, Citadels, why aren't you finding them? There's a lot of people either lying in these comments, which I don't think is happening, or the number of players is just so high, and a lot of these players, I mean, they're literally just not finding the Citadels. Maybe they're right off their screen and they don't realize it. I'm saying, you want to get people hooked into the end game of PoE 2, you want them to have rare tablets, you want them to fight one of the coolest bosses currently in the game, you gotta make that first pinnacle deterministic, kind of like what we have in Path of Exile 1. There were also a bunch of players who were convinced that you needed to complete the Corrupted Nexus quest line until you could start finding Citadels. I saw this across dozens of comments on this video, I remember, and that is completely wrong. I haven't finished it on either league. I'm on the last Corrupted Nexus in the main league and on tier 9s in Second Wind, and I found the Citadels, killed Arbiter. I'm finding lots of Citadels, but there's all this misinformation that is going around. And while yes, I like the sense of discovery and mystery, once again, staple endgame system, the main progression path, it should be more clear. And finally, we have Path of Exile 2's punishments for death are problematic. The latest video that we have on PoE 2 quit moments. This essentially was talking about, hey, there are a lot of punishments in the game, punishments for death, especially in the end game. We should have a death recap. This will help assuage a lot of the issues that players have. If they knew what was killing them and they could improve their characters based on this information, our lives would be way better and we would be far more okay with these punishments for death. That was my ultimate conclusion. The only punishment I think should be loosened up a bit is the only one portal for max juicing. Give us 2 portals. Freak situations happen. It's just so upsetting when something crazy happens and you lose that cool map. Let's see what you guys had to say in the comments. Borg111 said, what killed me? The question of the century. Yes, everybody says this. Streamers, regular players, casual players, hardcore players, you sit there, you die, and you're wondering what in the world killed me. And it's even more compounded for a subset of the player base, which I didn't even touch on in this video because I don't play a lot of it. Hardcore. When you die in hardcore and it's a what killed me moment, it is even more feels bad. And then honestly, a lot of the time I've been level 97 for the past 2 weeks and I can't get any further. If you die once, you lose about 20 maps worth of XP, maybe 30 maps. It's insane. Yes, a lot of the comments are talking about how the penalty for dying when it comes to experience is way too much. I disagree. I think that this needs to stay in place. Pushing to those max levels is an aspirational thing. You need to make a very powerful character or have an amazing experience farming strategy to push to those upper levels. I love that in the game right now. The problem is people either had the freak accidents and don't know what's killing them, or they're just not able to get their defenses in a place to allow this to occur, okay? I'm talking about people who play a lot. People who play as much as I do, what I said, 120 hours this league, I'm not going to get level 100. I'm not going to get level 99, honestly, unless I play perfectly. I'm okay with that. I think other players might need to be more accepting of that, understanding that I'm not going to get to the max level. It's just not, that is for the craziest hardcore players that are pushing themselves to the maximum. That's not me. You gotta accept that. Also, as many people in the comments noted, Omen of Amelioration does exist. It basically destroys the XP penalty, and you should be able to get to level 92, 93 with relative ease as long as you aren't dying every other map. JS2188 says 90% of my deaths are from getting stuck on terrain. It's even more annoying when the terrain is an invisible wall. Yes, there are a lot of bugs and issues with the game. Hopefully these are all ironed out. This is especially apparent on some of the forest maps where you get stuck behind trees and you can't actually see through them. They're not transparent. Oh, it very much sucks. Totally agree with the guy here. FVZI4861 says this also comes down to the very visual clarity issue, which they really need to solve somehow. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know. It's already progressed to Path of Exile 1. Even worse in some scenarios. That's just a tricky pickle because they're not going to do a transparency slider. I don't know. I don't have any answers, but yeah, that would help. Being able to see what's going on your screen would definitely help. You are right, because then you wouldn't need to be in the scenario where you need to be unkillable or be killing everything in one shot, right? You could play the game and see what's happening. In a lot of scenarios, that's just not the case. Okay, Brian Segfault says, I will never understand why combat logs are considered verboten, even if it was just hidden in a file somewhere. So my video never even talked about combat log. I guess I didn't really know this was a huge topic. I just wanted a past 4 seconds, what happened to your character. Lots of people are wanting a combat log in the comments, wanting to know exactly what's going on, like a round by round analysis like you would see in Neverwinter Nights. That's not going to happen. There are so many calculations ongoing in Path of Exile 2 at once. The stuff that we would see would confuse players, piss them off if the numbers weren't what they expected, and I bet a lot of them are. I don't think that'll ever make it into the game. What I really want to see is basically, and people in the comments have convinced me, a little bit more complex than what I was saying, okay? We need to see a snapshot of our character the past 4 seconds before we died. What ailments were affecting us? Were we slowed? What were the modifiers on the waystone if we're in a waystone? What buffs were occurring on the monsters that hit us? All this stuff. I don't see a negative to this. The main response, I'm just going to spoil it for you guys. The main response to this video was get good, okay? That this is in my head and I just need to get good. All these people who have the issues, they need to get good. If the death recap, as I proposed, breaking down what happened to your character, or if we got the instant replay, the past 4 seconds before your character died, you know, seeing what exactly occurred so you could study it. What does this take away from? What does this take away from the experience of the players who are good and aren't dying and are surviving and are building amazing defenses and are able to dodge all the on-death effects and aren't having any freaks of nature or acts of God occur to their character? I don't think it would do anything negative to anyone. I think this would only be an improvement. The big problem is Grinding Gear Games has said in the past, we can get 90% of the way there to a death recap of sorts, but perfecting at that last 10% is what we cannot do. I'd argue just that 90% would help a lot with players like myself, or all these players in the comments, hundreds of comments, you guys, all these players in the comments. And yes, even you guys who are saying just to get good. I really think it would be an asynchronous trade scenario where it will be just such a massive quality of life that's not taking away from the challenge of the game or the mystery of the game. It would just be informing players how to improve their characters or helping them realize how they actually died. Or maybe I really just am horrible at the game and I just need to learn to play. Right, Exiles? Alrighty, that has been it. My first response to my new series, Path of Exile 2 Quit Moments. If you have been enjoying this scripted series and you have some quit moments of yourself you would like to chat about, make sure, leave a comment below. Tell me, do you like these back and forth style videos? Do you like the scripted quit moments videos? I think it's a good time to do them in the quiet period before 0.5 for Path of Exile 2, but we all know it's going to be an exciting year for the game. I'm pumped up for it. ExileCon is going to be a blast. The updates are hopefully going to be very fun. And like I've talked about a lot, 0.4 turned into my most beloved, most played Path of Exile 2 league so far. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below. Make sure to hit the like button if you liked the video. Share it with a friend. And I will see you in the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.